On the same day that a judge found former President Trump in contempt of court, we are learning more about how Trump's inner circle interacted in the days surrounding the Capitol insurrection. Joining us now for more on all of this, plus the rapidly developing stories here in our nation's capital, ABC's Alex Preche. Alex, let's go ahead and start with that judge today, finding Trump in contempt. Now he's facing, what, $10,000 a day, right, in fines, unless he provides the New York AG with the documents that's been subpoenaed. Remind us just all the details of what could happen next.
Well, so this fine, this contempt finding, is part of an ongoing investigation, a civil investigation into the former president and the Trump organization. And earlier this month, the AG for New York filed a subpoena asking for records that they say that the Trump lawyers and legal team have yet to turn over. The judge ruling in favor, saying that there was no evidence that Trump has conducted a proper or thorough search for items that might be relevant to the subpoena, and any evidence that they've basically applied of compliance has been woefully insufficient. Now, I can tell you that our reporters were in the hallway during this this hearing and overheard Trump's attorney on the phone with her client saying that we will fix this, sir. She was asked about the $10,000 daily fine. She believed that was crazy, but then later put out a tactfully worded statement saying that we respectfully disagree with the court's decision today.
Also today, a trove of more than 2,000 text messages that former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows actually turned over to the January 6th committee. They became public after CNN released them. Let's talk about the big takeaways here. It's always good to get a little inside baseball when you think about the former president and his #1 advisor and the things that they said.
Absolutely, Kyra. And look, I mean, 2,000 text messages, we're still going through many of them. But I think the big takeaway so far is just the sheer amount of chaos in the days leading up to January 6th and then obviously on that day. And one of the things that that stood out to me was you have the Trump national spokesperson for the 2016 campaign, Katrina Pearson, who in a text message to Mark Meadows leading up to that January 6th rally allegedly refers to the lineup at that event as a psycho list. And then on the actual day of January 6th, just the sheer number of Trump's inner circle who are witnessing this breach, this attack on the Capitol, and trying to get a hold of Mark Meadows to relay to the president that he needs to intervene, that he needs to condemn this, that he needs to tell this to stop. I mean, we're hearing from people like Mick Mulvaney, Representative Barry Loudermilk, Representative Timmons, also the President Trump's oldest son, Don Jr., and then, of course, even Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Well, let's talk about her and how these texts could impact her trial. And she is the one with the possible role in the riots that prompted a challenge to her potential eligibility for re-election.
That's right, Kyra. So there are a group of voters in Georgia who are contesting that she should be ineligible to run for re-election because of her role that day on January 6th. And look, I mean, she took the stand last week and gave a contentious back and forth with opposing attorneys. But there are messages released in this trove here that show that she texted Mark Meadows on January 17th in our private chat with only members. Several are saying that the only way to save our Republican is for Trump to call for martial law. And this was something that she was asked about repeatedly during her testimony last week. And here's what she had to say about that.
The question was whether, prior to the inauguration of Joe Biden, Ms. Greene, whether you ever advocated for martial law to be imposed in a conversation with the Chief of Staff of the then President of the United States, Mr. Trump.
You can answer the question.
I don't recall.
Did you ever advocate for martial law prior to the inauguration of Mr. Biden with any member of the White House staff that was part of the Trump administration?
I don't recall.
Oh, let me read the text.
Well, and those texts coming just days before, obviously, the inauguration of President Biden. But you have to think that going forward, the timing of this could potentially come in play into her trial there in Georgia.
So I'm curious, are you going to keep going through all those text messages? Because I may not see you for a couple more days, Alex.
I've got my work cut out for me. But yeah, we'll do this again in about an hour, and I'll have some new stuff for you.
That's what I figured, and I'm sure it'll be saucy. Alex Brachet, appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.